RAWAD is a 360 business model with new initiatives that have reshaped the information technologies prospect in the region. We apply our expertise and business intelligence acquired over the 10 years to make an unparalleled decision focused on the business outcomes that positively impact our stakeholders. RAWAD IT Solutions has well-qualified and experienced engineers and technicians specialized in cybersecurity, network designing, penetration testing, cloud services and annual maintenance contract of all IT works. The success behind the new IT 300.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar brought to you by RAWAD IT Solution. So I'm Uzma Nazir and I'm thrilled to have you join us as we explore one of the most vital topics in cybersecurity today. So who are we? RAWAD IT Solutions has been at the forefront of the IT industry for over a decade, driving innovation and reshaping the information technology landscape with our IT 360 business model. We have a presence on ground in Jeddah, Riyadh, and Dammam, and we are committed to bringing cutting-edge solutions to our clients. We have two remote teams, experts from Pakistan and India, which strengthens our global expertise and capability. So, what services do we actually provide? A wide range of expertise includes services such as cybersecurity, networking, cloud solutions, vulnerability scanning and penetration testing, backup and recovery solutions, security management, data center management, endpoint security, email security, network security. And for all these services, we offer annual maintenance contracts. So today, our main goal is to help you understand the current cybersecurity landscape, the dangers of not having a robust security solution, and why Kaspersky Endpoint Security is the best choice for your organization, whether you're considering cloud or an on-premise solution. And so we'll also have a live demonstration, a comparison with other solutions, and a Q&A session where you can get all your questions answered. So now I request Mr. Abdul Hadi to discuss the current cybersecurity landscape and explain why Kaspersky stands out as the ideal solution.
Thank you, Uzma, for that wonderful introduction. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning, everyone. I'm glad we're here today to talk about something that's so crucial for all of us, cybersecurity. Now, in 2024, the landscape has shifted in ways that affect businesses globally, including right here in Saudi Arabia. So around the world, cyber threats are evolving fast. Okay. One of the biggest changes this year is the role of artificial intelligence. AI is a double-edged sword. It's helping companies defend against attacks by spotting threats in real time, but it's also being used by cyber criminals to create more sophisticated attacks. Another trend that we're seeing is an increase in ransomware attacks, especially in critical infrastructure like healthcare and energy sectors. Like just a few months ago, major cyber attack targeted community health systems, a large US-based healthcare provider, compromising sensitive patient data. But why should we care? You know, the simple answer is that the cost of not taking cybersecurity seriously is too high. For businesses, A single breach can lead to financial losses, legal troubles, a damaged reputation. If you talk about Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabian landscape, how safe do you really think we are? Like on March 18, 2023, a hacker forum reported a new alleged database leak involving Saudi Aramco. Now, as we all know, as of 2022, Saudi Aramco was the world's second largest company by revenue, having the largest daily oil production among all oil producing companies. Now, what was leaked? The leaked database included personal and sensitive information such as names, surnames, emails, dates of birth, citizenship, residency, hiring dates. The hacker also indicated that they have additional databases. Another incident, July 3rd, 2023, involving Panda Retail Company, one of the leading retail chains in the Middle East and the largest grocery retailer in Saudi Arabia. In this case, the hacker shared customer emails along with sensitive employee information. Now, all of this information has been monitored and reported by SOC Radar. Given the threats we've just discussed, it's very clear that you need a powerful solution to protect your organization. And that is exactly where Kaspersky Endpoint Security comes in. Now let's start with the good news, okay? It's highly unlikely for your business to become the target of an advanced, persistent attack by a multi-million dollar enemy cyber army that is going to ransom your data for $1 million. You can absolutely still expect to have some natural immunity to the bigger cyber attacks that happen around the world because they require research targeting, and the actors behind them probably won't invest significant time and people into bringing your business to its needs. However, the cybersecurity landscape has changed dramatically over the last few years, and we have to talk about this. Okay, there are two major factors behind this. The first factor being malware for sale. Okay, malware is for sale for a very cheap price, sometimes for less than $1. So the barrier to entry has dropped dramatically, while the complexity of the threats has risen. That's the first factor. Factor number two is that it is easy for cyber criminals to throw a wide net in the hopes of randomly catching fish with weak IT security. And with increased connectivity, as in cloud use, along with the increase in the number of devices that our businesses are relying on these days, it is much easier to do so. Now, as a service provider, we want what's best for our customers. And that's why we recommend Kaspersky. But why choose Kaspersky? First of all, Kaspersky provides comprehensive training resources to enhance employee awareness about cybersecurity threats. And it also has a unique cloud mode for endpoints that leverages global threat intelligence. It also has a remote wipe feature, allowing organizations like you to securely erase data from lost or stolen devices. Anomaly control. Kaspersky's ability to detect and respond to anomalous behavior enhances its threat detection capabilities. It also has compliance features and integrated threat intelligence. And all of this while having a minimal impact on your system performance. Along with all of this, all of our clients are satisfied with Kaspersky and our support. See, if you're a business, there's a very slim chance that business as usual will continue for more than 6 months if you get hacked. Okay, that's the hard truth. Sure, you may have an IT guy, but more often than not, they may not have a dedicated security expertise. And overwhelmed by work, your IT administrator might sometimes not have the time to study or manage separate complicated solutions. Today, even the supermarket needs Casper's cybersecurity expertise. And with little to no IT staff on premise, none of us want to be left vulnerable. So how does Kaspersky relieve you of all these problems? Kaspersky Endpoint Security Cloud offers you a single solution for all your organization's IT security needs. Now, it combines support for multiple device platforms such as Windows, Linux, Mac OS, even Android, and advanced protection, which means automated scenarios with an easy user experience, which means efficient management, leading to less labor times, which automatically means less time staring at computers trying to figure out what's going wrong. So, four unique USPs that I want to emphasize on. Number one, it's a single solution for all your IT needs. Number two, you can secure your remote workers using cloud. Number three, you have control over your cloud infrastructure. And number four, you can quickly boost your protection level and gain visibility. But how does it work? How does Kaspersky Endpoint Security Cloud work? In one word, effortlessly. All you need is an internet connection and a web browser, and this solution will provide you and protect you effortlessly in three simple steps. All you need to do is sign up at cloudkaspersky.com. You add your devices to your workspace, and that's it. Your devices are protected by a default policy. Now you can change that policy. You can implement stricter social media usage policies for some of your employees and allow it for some. Keeping your business safe, secure, compliant can be extremely challenging. We all know that, especially with data regulations and the threat of cyber criminals. You might often feel overwhelmed by the need to hire security specialists or purchase multiple security solutions. And as your company grows and moves to the cloud, the task of protecting your business may seem even more daunting. But there is an easier way. Imagine being able to secure your business, whether in the office, on the go, in the cloud, all through a web browser from anywhere. No need for multiple solutions or hiring extra help, just a simple, effective solution that can set you up in minutes. And you can also meet data regulation compliance by scanning your O365 storage for personal and financial data, all from a single, straightforward tool. It's like I use Kaspersky too. It's like having a world-class IT security officer by your side 24/7. And with this solution, you can secure all your business devices quickly, even personal ones that employees might use. With a web-based console, staying compliant and keeping sensitive data is safer than ever. Plus, with three tires available, as you can see on the screen here, your cloud security can grow alongside your business, keeping everything secure and compliant at a reasonable cost. So if you're ready to automate patching devices, control the use of external devices, prevent data breaches, you want to secure your data on remote devices if they're lost, if they're stolen, you're curious to see what unknown cloud services might be running in your business and take back control. So we at Rawad IT Solution can empower your cybersecurity with Kaspersky Endpoint Security. So through regular health checkup, what Rawad IT Solution does is that we ensure your Kaspersky Endpoint Security is always up to date, minimizing vulnerability. We can guarantee uptime with our SLA and ensure that your cybersecurity defenses are constantly maintained with guaranteed response times for any incidents. And we also offer round the clock support. So our organization is, or your organization is always protected with immediate assistance whenever needed. And we will tailor Kaspersky Endpoint Security to fit your unique business needs. Along with regular assessments and updates, we ensure that Kaspersky, your cybersecurity posture evolves with the latest threats and best practices. That is a Rawat promise. Now, to drive this webinar further, I would like to call upon my colleague, Mr. Zunair Aftab, and he'll be giving you a live demo of Kaspersky Endpoint Security Cloud. Mr. Zunair, over to you.
Thank you, Abdul Hadi, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining for today's webinar. Let me quickly share my screen. Is my voice audible?
Yes, Zunair.
Okay, so guys, when you sign up to Kaspersky, first of all, let me tell you guys that anyone can sign up for a 30 days free trial with the Kaspersky. And once you create your account, this will be your landing page. There will be no workspace created over here since I have already created two. I will give you a quick view of how to create a workspace. Once you are creating workspace, it's going to give you two options: endpoint security, and the second option will be for integrating O365. We will select the endpoint security for cloud and then hit next. After accepting these terms and conditions and reading them, we are going to accept them. And then we are going to add some company information for our workspace. Let's with this. And then we can select any country and number of devices that are going to be there in that workspace. Once you create the workspace, it usually takes some time to get operational. And since we already have our workspace created, we are just going to dive into that. So it's going to take a few seconds to load. As you can see, this will be your initial view once you land on your workspace. On the left-hand side, we have option tabs for information panel, users, devices, security management, quarantine, distribution packages, and settings. And we are going to go through them one by one. So first of all, at information panel, as you can see my screen, this is the monitoring section where there will be graphical and statistical representations of your users, devices, and any endpoint protection related data that is in the network. Then we have a reports tab where you can, after some detection, write various variety for detection, for threats, for scans, for vulnerabilities. And then we have event log. In case anything happens with the users and devices, it will populate over here. And then you can also view your license details over here. After this information panel, first of all, the second step for using Kaspersky is to add user and devices. And you can simply do that by going to the users tab on the left-hand side and clicking on add user. You can type in any email address. And then hit next. Over here, you can decide the username. And since over here, the red color, it populates that this email address already exists. You can basically change that. And then you can hit next. Over here, you can decide whether the user you are adding, you want to send them instructions to download the endpoint agent, or you don't want to send instructions. You can select do not send instructions, and later you can send instructions again if required. Since you already have added 3 users over here, and there's a device added for one of the users as well. Basically, once you send the instructions, the link will show up like this. This will be the email you will be getting. And after you click the link, it will start installing your endpoint agent, which is going to look like this. This is basically your Kaspersky Endpoint Agent once it's installed on your system. It has the monitoring tab, security tab, where you will be able to see all the security features that are currently enabled for your endpoint. And then there's update tab, tasks that are currently ongoing, where you can want to run a scan immediately or not. And there's a license information tab over here as well. So moving back to the Cloud Console, we have security management, where there are security profiles, vulnerability assessment and patch management, data discovery, endpoint detection and response, and encryption. So first of all, since we have already added a user and device, let us start by setting up a profile. By default, there will be already a profile by the Kaspersky, which has all the security features enabled. But let us set up a profile from the beginning. So on the left-hand side, you can see we have module for cloud discovery, and then we have security features based on various devices for Windows, for Mac, for Android, and for iOS. Since commonly we use operating systems in our environment, so we are going for the Windows securities that we have. The very first thing we have is file threat protection. Now, as the name suggests, file threat protection protects in a way that it scans the objects which are currently active, whether they exist in your system or whether you are currently opening them. It basically scans all of these files and objects in case there's any malware, any suspicious activity ongoing. And what it does, it scans it, notifies you, and then you move it to quarantine where you can decide what you are going to do with that file. After file threat protection, we have mail threat protection, which scans the attachments of any incoming email. It even scans you if that email is phishing or a phishing email or not. And in case if there is any malicious file attached to that email, you can block it once this option is enabled. Along with the mail threat protection, we have web threat protection. It secures your internet surfing basically. Once this option is enabled, it scans your inbound traffic on your computer when you are surfing through the internet. And there is to prevent any malicious file from being downloaded. And then you can decide whether you want to block the download or allow the download. You can even add exclusions of the website URLs over here in case you want to download application from a specific website over and over. And then we have network threat protection. Now, Kaspersky over here protects your network by scanning the network all the time. Like if there's some sort of attack from a certain computer, from a certain operating system in the network, and Kaspersky detects it. What it does depends on you. You can either block it, and you can even decide a timer. Like let's say over here, you can decide for 60 minutes, if an attack comes from a computer in the network, then that computer will be blocked from the network for the next 60 minutes. And then again, you can add exclusions over here. With the network threat protection, then we have firewall. Now it scans all of your internet, your local, and your private networks for any miscellaneous, any unauthorized access within that is trying to breach in your network. And then you can configure the rules for your firewall over here. For any activity, there's trusted hosts in the networks as well and local hosts as well. You can configure all of these settings. You can keep it on for now as recommended by the Kaspersky. And then we have available networks. We can check over here that how many networks in our system, in our organization are available. After that, we have bad USB attack prevention. Now, what is bad USB attack preventions? It is basically when some cyber criminal or someone tries to change firmware of a normal USB device. And once what that firmware does, it disguises the device, the USB device, as if it's a keyboard or a network adapter. What that device will do once plugged in is it will try to take control and start installing some malicious activities to create or exploit further vulnerabilities in your system. So what Kaspersky can do is we can set up number of authorization attempts. Like if it decides to request authorization 1 or 2 times, or you can decide from 1 to 10, let's say 5 times, it will block that device. It will get a timeout for 1 to 80 minutes. As you can see over here, we can decide the time. But it recommended it's 5 minutes. And that USB attack will not be affecting your system thanks to Kaspersky. And then we have a scan for removable devices. Now, mostly all endpoints have this feature, but what makes Kaspersky unique is you can decide whether you want to stop the user from canceling the scan. And you can also decide if there's a certain limit on the USB, you want to scan for the certain size. Like what it does is when the plug in the USB, it doesn't pop up whether you want to scan it or not. It just starts the scan for that user. And that is only available once you have this checkbox marked and this option enabled over here. And then again, you can cite, this is for right now, it's recommended size for USB is 4 gigs, as you can see. And if there's this checkbox is not enabled, that means that it will scan for any size-based removable device. After scan for removable device, we have a behavior and detection. Now, this engine is one of the unique USPs for Kaspersky. What it does is, once your application is running in your environment, and with the passage of time, your machine learning capability of Kaspersky, it basically reads and analyzes that application deep down to the code level. And if it finds that that code is trying to attempt any malicious activity, any malicious attempt in your system, it blocks it. And over here, you can decide whether you want just a notification over that, or whether do you want to just block it for some time. So we should enable this, and this same thing works on your shared folders as well, whether they're encrypted or not. After behavior detection, we have management settings for Windows, which includes host intrusion prevention. Whether you want to decide the host intrusion prevention is enabled or not, you can decide it over here. Then as we applied some settings earlier for the remote removable devices, with this option over here, you can decide whether those settings will apply on those removable devices or not. If we go further into the settings of device control, we can decide whether which kind of removable devices we want to allow or block. We have local printers, we have hard drives, we have removable devices, and a variety of other removable devices. We are going to enable this option so that we are more secure, and all of our settings that we have applied for removable devices can take control. Then we can even add exclusion. Let's see, you can get an ID for your removable device, and you can add it over here with that certain ID, and it will not, the rules will not apply on that device. Then we have web control. Before discussing web control, let me quickly tell you quickly about the cloud discovery, which is over here. Now, I'm discussing it now because these two things are likely to be considered working together. Like, this is basically monitors the cloud services that are running on your system. Over here, you can monitor them, and then you can block them as well if you want. Let's suppose there's a company and who wants just its employees to run company-based emails and not any private email provider. Then we can search for Gmail, let's say, and we can block it. And then there's, as you guys saw, there even social media. You can search for Facebook in the social media, and then you can block all of these as well. Now, once you are done with your settings over here, you can enable this module, and as soon as the endpoint agent updates its command from the cloud console, it will start its action. Now, all of these activities are being controlled over here in web control. It controls all the access on the website depending on the content and the location. As it says over here, we are going to enable it. After this, we have adoptee anomaly control, as Abdul Hadi explained in his presentation. It blocks, and while monitoring all the non-typical actions of a computer in any company's network, in any company's environment. Now, these are all the available suggested actions by the Kaspersky database. And over here, you can decide whether you want to notify, block, or act smart. Now, this smart option includes machine learning by the Kaspersky, and it will decide smartly whether they want to block it if it reaches some high score of intrusion of malicious activity. And after adaptive anomaly control, we have encryption. Over here, we can decide whether we want to encrypt our files, our devices, or not. We are going to enable this or disable this. For now, I'm going to keep it disabled. And then we have, we are going to save these settings before we go further. Then we have advanced settings. Over here, we can decide that threats we found can be excluded. If we click on the settings, we have this. We can configure the advanced scope for our threat detection, which was being operated in the in file and threat detection parameter. Detection of other types of object is disabled. Now, once we disable it, what it does is the security application always detects types and like worm, trojans, and other malicious files, and it blocks them. Then you can decide whether you want to add exclusion of trusted application, whether you want to add a malware exclusion. Over here, you can just see these are the trusted applications, whether you want to exclude them or not, decided by the Kaspersky already in the system. We are going to save it. Then we can even exclude the network ports. You can just simply click on add and then you can exclude them for your network, for your environment. After threat and detection process, we have performance. Now, Kaspersky's unique USP is it doesn't engage that much of your computer's resources. And you can decide it by free up resources for applications that are being enabled and by enabling background scans. When this option is enabled, the scans will be run in the background and it will not be consuming your system resources that much. And then we have interaction with end users, where you can decide how application behavior will work for your system. Kaspersky Endpoint Security for Windows. It will start, the endpoint will start for your endpoint device once your system computer is up and running. And over here, you can also decide whether running the whether you want to allow the user to run the malware scan independently or you want to block it. And then you can decide application password protection. Now, what is this password protection? This is basically, you can set up a password for your endpoint so that they can get some admin privileges over here. We are going to enable it. We are going to add a username. And then we are going to save it. Now, to reduce, why we did this, I will repeat again. It is to reduce the risk of unauthorized and unintended changes to the function of Kaspersky endpoint through the endpoint console that is installed on your device, on your system. Then we have protection and self-defense. Now, what self-defense is in Kaspersky, it prevents modification and deletion of endpoint security for Windows file on a hard drive and memory processes. And then we have the second option, external control of system service is disabled. So once we enable it, this feature will block all the attempts to control application from a remote computer. When the attempt is made to control the system applications from a remote computer, you will get a notification, and you can even disable it if you don't want the notifications to populate over time. And then we have information for technical support in case we want to, if we enable this option, we can allow our users to get any kind of technical support in case any error shows up on the screen. And then we have application control. Over here, you can add multiple applications and control them. Let's test. Let's see. So if you add these applications, let's see. Let's block. Okay, we can do this. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to. That's it. Okay, it's blocked. Once it applies, what it's going to do, it's going to start managing the users for that specific application control that we have already decided in the exclusion. Once these security parameters are decided, we can start by applying these settings to our users. Just a second. Okay, now we can assign these to our users. We are going to assigning it to this system since we already have device activated on it. And then we can run update over here with our endpoint. Once this update is done, all of our security policies that we have applied will populate it over here with our endpoint console. Let's give it a few seconds. While we are waiting, if you guys have any question related to the modules we have gone through so far, you guys can type it in the chat. So as you can see, the file threat protection, we have enabled all these settings. They are being populated over here now. Now falling back to the overview, then we have in security, we have vulnerability assessment and patch management. Over here, if there's any vulnerability in your system, it will be populated over here. And then if there's any patch required, you can see it over here and then install those settings. And you can even view the reports. Now this data discovery and endpoint detection response is basically for O365 cloud. So we are going to go forward. Then we have encryption. Now with Kaspersky, we can enable this option for Windows by using BitLocker, drive encryption, file vault disk encryption, and then we can view the reports as well. So that's it for the Kaspersky Cloud Console overview. As you saw, it's quite easy to use. The settings are quite easy to implement. And we can start using it in just 3 simple steps. As my colleague said, log in, add a user and device, and set up a security profile. That's it. Thank you, guys. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Okay, we have a question from Dr. Baksh. Can we use on-prem licenses for cloud? I believe the on-prem licenses are for on-prem software application alone, and the cloud one is based for cloud. Mr. Baksh. Any questions, dear audience? Yes, hello, Mr. Abdul Rahman, I believe. Yeah, sure. Just give me a second. Yes, Mr. Abdul Rahman.
Hi, good morning, Zunair. How are you doing?
Hello, Alhamdulillah. I'm good, sir.
Firstly, thanks a lot for this wonderful webinar. It's very informative. I wanted to ask you regarding the cloud aspect. It's a cloud-based application, right?
Yes, yes.
Where exactly is the data center of this application is hosted?
So, Mr. Abdurrahman, there's 2 data centers. You can choose from them. There's one in the US, but that one is closing in some time. So it's being migrated to Brazil. And there's also one somewhere in Europe.
Okay, thank you. The other question will be,
Yeah.
we know that across DME, we have this data residency regulation, right?
Yeah.
Which means every country have to make sure, for example, if we are residing in KSA Riyadh, we need to make sure that data shouldn't leave the soil of Riyadh. So how are we dealing with that once we add up our workstation to this cloud application for Kaspersky?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Also, I want to clear out in Europe, it's stored in Moscow. So because of the regulations, there are clients who still use Kaspersky Cloud in Saudi Arabia. And we also have an on-prem solution. But I think a better answer Mohsin Bhai can give you on this.
Mr. Mohsin, is Mr. Mohsin with us? While Mr. Mohsin arrives, we have a quick question from Mr. Yusuf. What is the difference between quick scan and full scan on removable devices? Mr. Yusuf, basically what quick scan does is it quickly scans the applications that are majorly in exe.exe files in your removable devices. It basically scans all those applications, first of all, which have a potential risk that you will be running them, or which they might run on their own in case it's malicious. But what the full scan does, it scans each and every file, each and every component, whether it's an application-based file, a code-based file, or anything else.
Also, if there are any zipped files, so a quick scan would not go into that, but a full scan will go into your zip files and everything.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was having a little trouble unmuting myself. I believe I'm audible now.
Yes, Miss. Yes,
Yeah,
Mr.
great. Just to add to the quick scan and full scan, obviously, as the name suggests, it will take like less than 30 minutes. And but again, talking about time frame, it checks about the vulnerability and commonly affected areas like memory and startup folders. But in a full scan, it examines the complete computer, not only your directly attached storage like DAS, but also it tries to scan any external devices, and it might take longer than expected. So that's the main purpose of that. And and also to add to that, the access controller files. There is a technology with Kaspersky which is called as Swift, which actually tries to scan based on the number of files that are scanned. But if it's been already scanned, it will actually do the smart scanning. It will actually do progressive scanning based on the number of files, which is very new to it, and it will try to minimize the time of scanning. Now, this has been introduced not recently, but it's been there in Kaspersky for a very long time. It's called the Swift mode. It is to improve the performance of the particular system, to make it less consumable, so that you will have the utmost performance of that particular system. So these are few features or advanced features that we can actually explore, and we can effectively use for any computer who has less computing resources. I hope I answer your question.
Yeah, Mr.
Mr.
Mohsin,
Mohsin, sorry, Hadi, please.
Yeah, there was another question by Mr. Abdurrahman. He was asking about the regulations in Saudi Arabia that our data cannot be stored outside and it has to be stored on Saudi soil.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a very good question that has been raised. To answer that, every cloud computing company or any data which is stored anywhere in the landscape or any geographical location, they are governed with certain data protection regulation. For instance, Europe or ULA will have GDPR. Likewise, the United States will have its own. And now Saudi Arabia is also working on protecting its data. So they will be soon in with the NCA. Along with the NCA, there will be an regulation that would be actually imposed, that your data, which has been with the customers from Saudi Arabia, will be imposed with that particular regulation. Now, to rebuttal that, as we know that Kaspersky's cloud is not hosted within Saudi Arabia, we don't know as of now that they have planned to actually host that, because sooner or later there are some endpoint companies which are actually trying to host their data with some ISP providers, major giants like STC and Mobile. We don't know about Kaspersky. We used to have the data center in United States, but as of now, it will be closed down. It will be moved to Europe, Moscow, and there'll be other data centers that would be actually affiliated to it. So, having said that, every data that has been actually been kept with Kaspersky goes under a particular regulation, depending on the geographic location. There are enforcements from SAMA that if you are actually using any solutions which protects your computers, it has to be an on-prem solution. That data could not actually go on cloud. In such scenario, Kaspersky also offers the on-prem solutions, which has much more features comparatively what we see with the cloud, and they are actually introducing a new Kaspersky Security Console to the market, which is actually taking its presence slowly and steadily. So in such scenarios where we have a strict regulation or they are undergoing any sort of compliances or audits, like some are NCA, but especially with some are in financial sectors, they can easily go with an on-prem solution with robust features. So I hope I have answered your question. If you have any other questions, I'm more than happy to answer you.
Yes, thanks a lot for this brief reply. Yes, indeed, you answered it. Like you said, in this case, the on-prem solution will be something we can go ahead with. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have any other question, Mr. Abdurrahman?
I think I heard one question from Mr. Imtiaz, I believe, about the most probably that is related to migration. If you're using Kaspersky on-prem, can you use the same license to use it on the cloud version? Yes, you can use that particular activation code onto the cloud version. You need to migrate your endpoints to the cloud. The only checkpoint, or if I would say the loophole, would be basically the features that you see with the on-prem and that you compare to the on-cloud solutions will be limited. So that is something you will actually see while you're migrating from on-prem to cloud. So the answer is that you can go ahead and migrate, but the features will be quite less as compared to that what we see on the cloud. On-prem, it has a lot of features like, you can, beyond what we use as of now, you can actually do the inventory, manage your licenses, actually do RDPs, remote desktop, all those features. What you see with the advanced license or advanced optimum for the EDR part, if you actually migrate that, you will get only the handpicked features that are actually available with the Kaspersky Cloud. There is another cloud solution that is coming, which is called Kaspersky Console, Security Console. It is quite different from what we see as of now. It's almost similar to the web server that we see on the on-prem side. So it's that particular console is now been hosted. It's actually taking place in the market. If you migrate to that particular version of cloud, yes, you will find most of the features. If you say about the percent out of 100, you will see like around 80% of your features, 20% as per the license, you will not be able to switch. So there is likely possibility, if you are actually very particular about the features, then you need to buy a different what you call license, a particular license for Kaspersky Cloud. But if you are willing to actually migrate with the existing one, yes, you can do it.
Mr. Mohsen,
I hope I answered the
we have another question, and I would like to answer it myself. Mr. Yusuf, yes, you can just in the settings, you can enable a quick scan for the removable devices, and then your employee can start using that device, and you can perform a full scan later on just for that particular removable device. So yes, we can do that setting for the user that you want to do.
You can. The only catch is that no matter if you've done your full scan or if you've done your quick scan, but there is a feature with the USB setting. Whenever there is a device plugged in and if the feature for scanning is enabled, it will again do the scanning for those devices. So if you want a different setting, a set of profile that needs to be made, I have done my quick scan. I don't want my USB to be scanned or external hard drive or any device that is connected to my computer. Then you need to disable that scan. So anytime and every time when you actually do the quick scan, though, but if the USB has been attached, then it will do the quick scan. Sorry, it will do the removable USB scan.
Mr. Mohsen, we have another question from Mr. Abdul Sattar. He's asking that can we proceed to the latest update of Kaspersky, or we need to take any precaution? And they are currently using cloud version.
I believe you're using a cloud version, right? In that way, if you're using a cloud version, all the updates regarding to any endpoint or this console itself is automated. The latest download will always be available, but once there is a release, that is also a part of your antivirus updates. So in short, if there is a new minor version which has been released, it will be taken care by your updates, which are nothing but your antivirus updates. That would be part of your DAT file or signature files. So those minor versions will be taken care. If there is any major patch with regards to like from 12.9, it has actually jumped to 13 version. Of course, you have to actually make it a part of deployment task and you have to actually deploy it. And there will be an announcement made that there will be a major patch release because of so-and-so reasons, or maybe so-and-so vulnerabilities or so-and-so hot fixes that needs to be done. So in that scenario, there'll be, if there is a major breakdown, or else whatever as of now that we see with the Kaspersky Cloud is that minor fixes would be fixed through your antivirus scanning updates, or sorry, antivirus schedule updates.
Okay, Mr. Yusuf has asked if you could give us a simple explanation of what I have asked. So, can full scanning and quick scanning be activated after completing the quick scan? And the employee can use the removable device. I believe Mr.
Yes, of
Yusuf.
course.
Yeah.
Yes, you can actually see if basically if you have scheduled a full scan. See, for instance, if you are talking about an on-prem solution, you have various tasks that you can actually control within that particular device. You can do a quick scan and you can also do a full scan. Once the quick
Hello.
scan is done, you can also start a full scan. In cloud, basically the tasks are quite limited. So if you're talking about the cloud part, once we actually do the scheduling of the scanning, that particular scan, depending upon whatever settings you actually take into consideration, that will happen. But again, if you actually plug a USB and you enable scan my USB in the settings of the cloud, it will actually do a rescan. Similar way, on your on-prem, you just get an edge where you can actually go ahead and select the task where you want to do the scanning. Like quick scan, you want to do it, you can actually start the scan. Okay, and then you can plug your USB. Again, if that particular setting is enabled, it will actually do the scan again. If that particular setting does not have the ability to actually say that, okay, I could not scan it, then that particular USB will not be scanned. If it comes under full scan, thus your external drives has been scanned. But again, if that setting says explicitly that you need to, that particular external device has been plugged, it needs to scan, then it will scan. So in order to, if you want, if I've done my full scan, I don't want my USB or external drivers to be scanned. For that, you need to disable that setting. But my recommendation is that you enable that, because sometimes you don't know, though the full scan is done, someone plugs another USB, it might be corrupted or it has some virus. It will be actually, the full scan will not happen because you're doing it on demand or you're doing it manually. On scan access files can highlight, but this is an additional feature from any vendor that you actually enable scan while the USB is getting inserted to your computer. I hope I answered the question.
Do we have any other question from the audience?
Any further questions, gentlemen?
Mohsin Bhai, just want to go through. Mr. Baksh has asked, is there any need to replace the legacy KES with the EPP and XDR and EDR, or are we protected enough with the KES?
If we are talking about in particular to your on-prem legacy KES will actually have versions. If you're actually having the latest version, then it's not legacy part. If you're using the latest, what you call the endpoint versions like 12.9 and all, then you are up to date. About the licensing part, again, if you're using, it's up to you. If you're using Optimum, okay, or the expert license, you'll have more features compared to that to your advanced. And if you are having systems actually handle, because as you know that there are still people who are using old versions of Kaspersky and for their Windows 7, maybe for Vista and all, but there is no updates to it, neither from Windows, neither from Kaspersky. So there is no point of actually holding back to those operating systems, backward operating systems. It's always better that we actually upgrade our security systems with the latest versions, maybe for the endpoint itself or the security console itself. So there are some new variations with the license from Kaspersky, like Optimum EDR has now a new version with expert license and MDR licenses. So there are now soon you'll see that there are new series of license or subscriptions that will be coming into the market just to enhance your security and more value for your money. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, Mr. Baksh says thanks.
We have a question from Zahir. Scanning and phishing in Kaspersky, is it real-time protection? Scamming and phishing in Kaspersky.
If you talk about scamming and phishing, absolutely, because Kaspersky offers you a volume-based license, so you can actually protect two devices like your PC or your mobile phone, and it has the sandboxing feature if you take the cloud version. And of course, when you actually been redirected before getting redirected, or if you by any chance that becomes a legitimate URL or any legitimate attachment, if that particular scanning is been enabled, it will block those sites which are leading to any phishing or malicious websites or any attachments that are actually might become an HTA, man-in-the-middle attack. Such kind of attacks would be stopped.
Also, Mr. Zahir, with every license that you purchase of Kaspersky Plus or Pro, you also get a free license for your Microsoft O365. So what that does is that it does real-time scanning of all of your mails. So any mail that comes before it appears in front of you, so it is firstly scanned for phishing and scamming. And about social engineering attack,
I believe Casper, once you become a Kaspersky user, they have their security awareness training for such as social engineering attacks. Well, of course, it is going to scan your emails for in case there's any some sort of as if it's like phishing or something else. But then again, it all comes to awareness when it comes to social engineering attack, and Kaspersky has its awareness program for those purpose.
because Mr. Zahir, as Zunaira said, at the end of the day, the first line of defense is your employee, us, a human being, because we can put up all types of barriers on our security measures, but to be socially apt, and we have to keep our eyes open and our fingers, ready, because a threat could appear anywhere, and anybody or any email it could be. And even if it gets through the security measures, we have to be aware of how these things are functioning. So it's very necessary that all of our employees are kept up to date as to how these things occur. And that's why security trainings are also free with the Pro and Plus tiers of Kaspersky. And that's very important. That's a very good question that you asked. Thank you so much.
So do we have any other question, guys? Your audience?
By the way, gentlemen who are present with us, if you would like to experience our support, we are most welcome to actually extend our support to you and do the health checkup, just in case any questions that you think that we might have answered or you might have not been understood properly. We can actually extend our support to you, and you can get in touch with the team. They can share their email IDs. Support@rawad-ideas.com, and we will be more than happy to have one-on-one conversation with you, inshallah. So I think that is
I will
the time from my side. Zunair and Abdulhadi, please take it.
I would like to add one more thing. Since this was a basic overview of Kaspersky, inshallah, we will be having another webinar, part 2 for the Kaspersky, where we will be lively presenting how each and every module acts and protects your system in the environment. We will have a live demonstration of how, if a malicious file enters your system, what Kaspersky does to it. So stay tuned, stay connected for the next webinar. And if you guys don't have any questions, we can call it a day.
Yep, and I also want to mention that the trial for Kaspersky Endpoint Security Cloud is free for the first 30 days. So I would highly recommend that you guys try it out. You can drop an email or at the email address, it's in the chat. So you can get in touch with us, you can try it out. And then if you want to upscale, you can buy the license. But for those 30 days, I really want all of you to experience what it's like having a 24/7 security officer right beside you.
And if you guys require any support, you can always reach out with the email address that is already shared for any questions, for any queries, if you guys are facing any troubleshooting issues, anything.
Sure. It was great having you as an
Thank you.
audience.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining. Have a very beautiful, wonderful day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Hope we actually stay tuned for the coming webinars as well. Thank you again.
Inshallah, Mr.
God bless.
Siddharth, there
Have a
will be
nice
part 2.
day ahead.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a nice day.